Joining us now are former Chicago Blackhawks player Kyle Beach and his attorney Susan Loggins. Kyle, thank you for joining us. I'll start with you. Now, you said you buried this for years and that it destroyed you. Why is it important for you to reveal yourself right now?
Thanks for having me on, Nate. And I think it's so important to me now because as I've begun this healing process and I've continued through this process since I contacted Susan about a year and a half ago, it's been an amazing, uplifting experience to share my story, to be able to speak out about my story, to have other people to talk about my story. And for me, it's realizing this and now looking back and kind of going over my life over the last 11 years, there's a lot of things that I think I'd like to have back, and a lot of moments that I've lost because of I wasn't myself and I didn't have the capacity to manage those situations. So for me right now, it's important to come forward to share my story because this is so much bigger than Kyle Beach. Yes, I am a survivor, but there's millions of people in this world that have been affected by sexual abuse or sexual assault. And I'm speaking out now to hopefully give them a voice, to give them the power to come forward so that we can make a change in this world and hopefully make this a safer place in sports, but also in work and life and every day.
Now, Kyle, speaking of you not being the only one, the report alleged that Brad Aldrich assaulted a team intern, and then 3 years later, he pleaded guilty to a sexual assault on a minor. What is your reaction to that?
It makes me sick to my stomach. In the TSN interview yesterday with Rick Westhead, who's done an amazing job on this from day one, I broke down when he asked me if I would have anything to say to that boy. And my message to him was that I'm sorry because I feel like maybe I could have done more then to protect him. At the same time, I want to thank him because when I found out about his story, when I decided to Google Brad Aldrich's name after a teammate had asked me about the incident, I found out about his story and it gave me the courage and the strength and the power to ask for help and to inevitably contact Susan and to be where we are today, to make a difference and hopefully send a message to everybody out there that you're not alone and that you do have power and people will believe you.
That's Kyle. I think what you're doing is so important, especially as a man, because there are so many stereotypes. And I know men who have been sexually assaulted, they feel like they should have had more power, that they should have been able to defend themselves. And I think by you coming forward, it's so important to know 1 in 6 people are sexually assaulted. So thank you for doing what you're doing right now. You know, the then head coach, Joel Quenneville, he's still coaching in the NHL. What would you have to say to him?
Yeah, I don't have all the facts. I have seen the report that came out from the Chicago Blackhawks private investigation, and there's some pretty disturbing quotes from the one in particular from Stan Bowman, referring to Joel Quenneville and a conversation that they had in a meeting with several others that he's quoted him as saying something along the lines of, we can't deal with this now because we're so close to in the Stanley Cup finals. And that is absolutely the wrong message. And
now, Kyle,
to read that and to see that, it's very hard for me to believe. And I hope now that I've spoken out, that the truth has come out, that the people in the appropriate positions will take action and take the necessary actions to make sure that this is dealt with and that this never happens again.
Now, Kyle, you mentioned that the necessary action needs to be taken. 2 top executives have stepped down and the team has been fined $2 million. Do you feel like more needs to be done within that organization and across the league?
I think more definitely needs to be done amongst the league. You know, like I spoke earlier, the NHLPA was contacted. Don Fear actually released a message this morning, and I thought it was a great message, and I accept his message. I do believe that they want to do right, and I do believe that they will make the necessary changes, and I hope I might be able to be involved in that. As far as the NHL goes, it's a very tough subject. I lost one of my friends, one of my former teammates, not so long ago, Jimmy Hayes, one of the best guys I've ever met in the game. And I hadn't been in touch with him for a long time, but from what I've gathered, he needed help and it never came. So whether it be with sexual assault or sexual abuse or abuse in general or drugs or anything else, I don't know when is it going to be enough for the NHL to step in and say enough is enough and take the necessary steps and take the necessary actions to make a difference and protect the players that make the NHL what it is.
Kyle, thank you so much. I appreciate you stepping forward in your transparency. Your courage will help others do the same.